You fought well yesterday. Your style is unorthodox.
Good morning, Yankees universe. Welcome back to another episode of the Yankees Morning Brew on this Thursday, September 12th. Like always, I'm your guy Hector, and I'm joined by my compañero this morning, mi hermano de la isla. My guy Ghost is in the building. Ghost, how are you doing, bro?
Good morning, everybody. Today is a great day to talk some Yankees baseball, my man.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. So shout out to the chat. Like always, if you guys can, please smack the like button, hit that subscribe button, interact with the emojis. And if you're watching us on Instagram or on Facebook or on X, click the link in the bio, jump on over to YouTube and join this fabulous community that we have. Let's do a few shout outs because we have some folks that are in the building. Nosebleed section is in the building. Theo Nosebleed, how you doing? Salute, salute, salute. My guy Truth always is in the building. Truth, how you doing? Of course, the fly guy Jonathan is in the building. Double A is in the building as well. The fittest 60-year-old I know in my life is my guy Double A. Daniel Barry Sports Highlight is in the building. Double A says, Hector, the professor, the lovely Grace, please give up Verdugo Monroe. Grace couldn't be here this morning. She has a doctor's appointment. That's why my guy Ghost is filling in right now. Me and Ghost will be rocking out. Damien and Grace couldn't join us this morning, but it's still going to be a good show. We're still going to talk about our Yankees. We're still going to have great conversations. But before we jump into any convos, I have a video that I want to play, right? You guys heard me from this past Tuesday, letting you guys know that I was a part of Hispanic Media Day at Yankee Stadium. Shout out to the New York Yankees for putting that together. It was an amazing experience. First time being a part of the press, being in the press box. That was awesome as well. So sure you guys go and visit latinosports.com. There's great articles highlighting the day that was on Tuesday. It was a great time. It was a great experience. I was able to meet a bunch of people. I was able to meet Meredith Morakovich. That was awesome. Ricky Ricardo as well, who does the Spanish announcing for the Yankees in the booth. Susan Waldman as well, was able to meet her. She was phenomenal. Marvin Gonzalez, the translator for the New York Yankees. So it was an amazing experience. The New York Yankees, top class organization. It was a great time highlighting media members in the Latino diaspora. I think it's important, and just to have a different voice that is out there. So it was a great time. It was a great experience. But let's get into the combos. Ghost, I'll throw it over to you. How you feeling from last night's game, my guy?
I was at the edge of my seat, man. The game was just close, and then Clay Holmes blew another save. His 12th one. I was ready to rip his head off because there have been people that have been defending him. Oh, his stat bases are good. You got to stop beating him up. Blah blah blah. I'm not going to defend a man who is constantly blowing saves and blowing wins where we were this close at times to winning, and then he ties up the game again after that. It was just ridiculous. And then, this is the kind of battles you want to see from the Yankees, right? Regardless of what Clay Holmes did, you never want to see the team give up. And that's one of the beautiful things we saw yesterday. This team did not give up, and that bullpen held strong.
No, 100%. If you guys can, like always, smack the like button, interact with the emojis. But no, talking about the pitching side of things, right? I'm gonna pull it up real quick. I'm gonna pull up the graphic for the pitching. When you look at it, Luis Hill, 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. He had some issues in the first inning. The bases was loaded, but he was able to get out of it. He gave up that run on a solo home run. But Luis Hill, he's starting to find himself. He's starting to turn back into the Luis Hill we saw at the beginning of the season. But on top of it, he's looking a little bit better because at the beginning of the season, he didn't have the confidence he has now when it comes to his slider, when it comes to his breaking pitch. He's more willing to throw that now and counts that you would expect the fastball to come. So he's keeping the opposing hitter off balance, mixing in that slider, which is looking like a solid weapon right now to go along his sinker and his changeup. It's just pieces that this kid, Luis Hill, he is showing you he could be special, right? And going back to Tuesday when I was at that media day, one of the reporters asked Garrett Cole about Luis Hill and about what he has seen from Luis Hill. And he said it, Garrett Cole said it, Luis Hill came into spring training at the best shape of his life. Came into spring training looking better than any other pitcher that was there. And that's what caught the attention of everyone in the Yankees organization. And when Garrett Cole went down, he said the maturity that Luis Hill has shown is the reason why he's having this success. You can have all the stuff in the world. You can have a fastball 100 miles per hour. You can have the best curveball, best breaking pitch, whatever you want to throw in there. But if you don't have the maturity to be a professional athlete or be a professional pitcher on a major league roster and carry that out 162 games, when you go out there and make your 1 out of 32 starts, that's what separates prospects that have potential with major league players that can perform at a big league level. And that's what we're seeing out of Luis Hill at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was a great compliment from obviously Garrett Cole, who is a huge factor in this team. And then when Luis Hill stepped up, even after the fact, he came up, he delivered. And then obviously after the injury, he rehabbed a little bit, came back, and was still that Luis Hill we knew that we could expect from someone who was hardworking, willing to deliver, get the strikeouts we need, and give us the innings we needed. And having him back is huge. Same thing with Clark Schmidt. You know, having him back is huge because we definitely needed a little bit more help in that rotation. And those guys coming back really give us that uplift we needed with those heavy strikeouts we needed from both of those guys. And obviously Nestor kind of backing up, obviously Clark Schmidt is another thing that I was happy about because seeing him get into that role again, kind of like the bullpen role coming out and helping, that was great as well. And I know he didn't like it because he made comments beforehand. But again, if you're here to help. You're here to do what you can for this team, not get upset because of the position you're in. Because at the end of the day, you're contributing, which is huge. Either it's you starting in the rotation, which I think he's starting against the Red Sox this week, and of course, either helping Clark Schmidt. Either way, you're doing a great work for us and a great assist to us when we need it from the bullpen side, which has been the biggest problem we've been having so far outside of the rotation.
Yeah, no, and like I said before at the beginning of the stream, if you're watching us on Instagram, if you're watching us on Facebook, click the link in the bio. Come on over to Uptown Sports TV on YouTube. If you guys aren't subscribed to Uptown Sports TV, what are you doing with your life? Help us out. We are on our way to 5K subscribers. And like always, support us on social media. Hit us up on Instagram. Hit us up on Twitter, or like they call it X nowadays. But, you know, just to switch gears, we'll get back to the pitching side of things to do a deeper breakdown. But I want to talk about one of the players that, and I mentioned this to him when I saw him on Tuesday, who has been a breath of fresh air, not only as a Yankee fan, but as a baseball fan. And I'm talking about Jazz Chisholm. Mr. Jazz Chisholm is doing everything right when it comes to being a New York Yankee for the first time. Seeing how he interacts with the fans up close and personal is a breath of fresh air. One thing I always mention to you guys when I go to these autograph signings, one of my favorite players to interact with is Oswaldo Cabrera, right? Because Oswaldo, as soon as he comes in, he's standing and shaking hands and talking to kids for 2 to 3 hours. He makes sure he goes around and he acknowledges every parent that's there. He acknowledges every kid. My guy Jake from the Bronx Zoo, he is doing a crosswork with Just in Time Baseball. It's a mini camp with Oswaldo Cabrera. It's a baseball camp. And they just put a video out like a couple of weeks ago. And in that video, you saw Jake follow Oswaldo as soon as they walked in, and they made his way around the entire camp, talking to every parent and talking to every kid that was there. And that's the same thing I saw from Jazz Chisholm. The way that the Yankees are allowing Jazz Chisholm to be like an ambassador for the Yankees when it comes to interacting with the fans, You have to see it in person to understand what I'm saying. And on Tuesday, that's what I showed. So I just want to give Jazz Chisholm his flowers. Jazz Chisholm had this to say about last night's game, or about the team in general. He said, "We are not playing to our ability right now. Nobody's hot at the moment. This is how you stay together. This is a championship team, and this is what we do. We grind it out and we win games, no matter who's down and who's up." And that's what you want to hear out of your major league ball player. That is exactly what you want to hear. So give your flowers for Jazz Chisholm. Go ahead, Ghost.
Yeah, I definitely agree. You know, I had my reserves about Jazz. You know how I felt about Jazz. Everybody knew how I felt about Jazz. But seeing the kind of person that he is and hearing the kind of person that I see on television, and from what I'm hearing from you, Hector, it shows the great character that he's showing, that he cares so much about this team, that he would do anything and willingly to try to help this team win. And I agree. Right now, the bats haven't been as hot as they should be. And that offense needs to step up, and especially now when we're heading into a playoff run and, of course, a World Series run. You definitely want to have everyone on the same page, and obviously him doing what he can to get us to win is huge. You have to take with perspective of how great of a player Jazz is, to be willing to change positions again after playing second, short, and then outfield, and now going to the third, who has been excellent at third base. So kudos to him for doing that and willing to take another step forward as a player and as a utility guy and as, of course, a star, willing to take every position that he can to help this team out, which is huge. So I applaud him for that. And not only that, for being a very kind-hearted human being who has been willing to do everything for this team. So shout outs to Jazz Chisholm, man. He has been a wonderful breath of fresh air, as you mentioned before, Hector. And his offensive flow, his offensive power is there, and it's shown plenty of times against other opposing teams. And it's very awesome to have on our pocket and, of course, on our team.
No, 100%. Before I get to the chat, because I want to highlight, like I said, one of the best chats that's out there on YouTube, Jazz Chisholm with the Miami Marlins. He had a 249 batting average. He had 13 home runs, 50 RBIs. Jazz Chisholm with the New York Yankees is hitting 298. He has 9 home runs. He has more than half of the home runs he had with the Marlins. He has 13. He has 16 RBIs. And when it comes to stolen bases, he had 22 with the Marlins. He already has 13 with the New York Yankees. So you see the Jazz Chisholm effect. And yesterday's game, yes, Juan Soto hit a home run, but Anthony Volpe's, his speed came into play, right, to tie up the game in extra innings. John Birdie's speed came into play. The day before, Jason Dominguez, his speed came into play. Without speed, this team is not the team that we see on the field right now. Inserting Jazz Chisholm and his youthfulness and his speed, having Anthony Volpe, having other guys to bounce off of, having John Birdie, having Jason Dominguez, it gives a different dynamic to this lineup. It gives a different view when it comes to this offense, because for a while, the New York Yankees, we have been one-dimensional. It's been home run or it's been a bust. That's what our offense has been for the past few years. So to see this team this year having a different flow and having a different balance to it, we don't have 4 to 5 right-handed hitters in a row in our lineup. No, we have parity. We have different avenues or different lanes, as the Yankees like to say, when it comes to our lineup, having Glaber leading it off, then Soto, then Judge, and then you throw in Chisholm last night in the cleanup spot, and then Giancarlo Stanton. It just makes this lineup better. And yes, we got to talk about Austin Wells and give him his flower, but we'll do that later on. Let's shout out the chat real quick. My guy Sunil is in the building. Sunil says this is some Jazz Chisholm. Wait, this is the same Jazz Chisholm I was nervously skeptical on at and before the time of the trade, all because of the facts lying behind his Marlins performance, being a high K guy. This is on me. Listen, Sunil, you ain't the only one. There was a bunch of Yankee fans that right now they're going through Twitter, deleting their tweets, talking about how they didn't want Jazz Chisholm on the New York Yankees. So you aren't the only one. There was a lot of fans that were looking at me weird when I was saying that I wanted Jazz Chisholm on this team. Shout out to my guy D's channel is in the building. Anna Marie LeBeau is in the building. She says, I love jazz and Volpe double stills. Absolutely. My guy Sean Browning is in the building. Salute to you, Sean Browning. True Cowboy is in the building. Listen, even though you're a Cowboy fan, you're still friends with me, okay? You're still a friend over here, even though you're a Cowboys fan, okay? My guy. Who else we got in the building? Oh, Theo Nosebleed says, Cousin did his Holmes impression. He gave up a run as well. No, definitely. We'll get more into the pitching side of things, especially when it comes to Cousins, because Cousins, to me, he has been a surprise out of that bullpen. I know he gave up that run, but he did pitch multiple innings. So this is a guy that is used to just one innings, but we were extending him, and rightfully so, because we're trying to win this game. We couldn't lose a series against this Kansas City Royals. No, we have to win as many games as we can to keep the lead in our division as of right now. But before we get into things, let me make sure this is all right. This is not downloaded yet. I'll wait for that. Let's talk about Juan Soto, right? Because Juan Soto, it was a bit nerve-wracking last night. I was watching the game. My girlfriend was here. Shout out to my beautiful girlfriend who's in the chat, Alex Campos, like always. But she was watching the game when Juan Soto fouled the ball off of the top of his foot, and she saw the emotional roller coaster that I was on, thinking that Juan Soto is injured. And as soon as he got back into the batter's box, goes, I kid you not, I looked to my girlfriend and says, if he hits a home run, I'm going to lose my mind. And what did he did? Almost 2 pitches afterwards, hit a home run. And my neighbors on the 4th floor were banging on the floor because I was screaming that loud. Ghost, how loud were you in your house when Soto hit that bomb?
I won't lie. My heart dropped when he hit the foot, and I thought something bad was happening. And I was like, oh, God, the last thing we need. And then when I saw him lock in and he hit that home run, I almost wanted to tuck my controller, chuck my phone, and lose my mind. I did lose my mind, Hector. I'm not going to lie to you. But it was huge. He lit the offense up like we needed to. And, had it not been for him, we would have been down 2-0. And obviously he gave us that boost up and gave us those 2 runs we needed. So I was very happy. And I'm going to be very happy because he's another great weapon we have on this team that I am beyond happy to have. And I think he's close to 40 home runs as well. I think he hit his 39th last night.
Yeah, he's at 39.
Yeah, so he's cruising. And I'm very, very happy with him. So, yeah, I was very excited to see him hit that home run that we desperately needed.
Yeah, on the season, Juan Soto, has a 289 batting average, 39 home runs, 100 RBIs, and he has an OPS of 998. He is having one of the best first years any Yankee has had in their first year. He is up there when it comes to MVP conversation. I know Aaron Judge gets a lot of praise. Bobby Witt Jr. Shout out to Bobby Witt Jr. Let's give Bobby Witt Jr. some credit because he almost made an amazing play at the end of the game. But when you look at Juan Soto, I think they brought it up in the broadcast. When it comes to the 6th inning or later, he has 10 or more hits, giving the Yankees the lead this season. Let me say that again. Juan Soto, in his first year as a New York Yankee, after the 6th inning, he has 10 or more hits, giving the Yankees the lead. Give flowers to Juan Soto. Regardless of what happens after the season, obviously, us Yankee fans are selfish. We want to see this man in the Yankee uniform for the rest of his career. Sign that man a blank check. Give him ownership of the franchise. Do whatever you can. Regardless of what happens at the end of this season, regardless of what happens in free agency, Yankee fans, enjoy what you're watching from Juan Soto right now. This is a generational talent that we are getting to watch up close and personal. I know I'm blessed as a Yankee fan, knowing that I grew up in the dynasty era. I got to watch Derek Jeter, Bernie Williams, Mariano, Andy Pettitte. And as I got older, they traded for Alex Rodriguez, Robinson Cano. And now I'm 35 years old. I'm getting to enjoy Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. As a Yankee fan, I am blessed. And if you're a Yankee fan out there, just enjoy what you're watching. Yes, we want him to come back and re-sign with the team, but let's enjoy what's in front of us before we start thinking about the future.
Absolutely, man. You definitely want to give love to Juan Soto for giving that performance that he's giving. It's MVP performance, right? You can't deny that. And seeing him on this field, seeing the passion that he gives this team and showing the love to the fans that he constantly hears from the bleachers and all over the world that he goes and plays in the other city. You hear the Yankee fans constantly showing him as much love as possible. And that's a great thing to see. And obviously, we do want him to come back. So that's an obvious. So there's no question about that. But you definitely are right, Hector. You have to give him his praises, give him his love now as a Yankee, because he is doing some incredible feats. And we can't thank him enough for not only giving us the spark that we needed from this offensive side, but just all around great player that he is.
Yeah, no, definitely. And shout out to Lennox Road Poe in the building. Lennox said, Soto better come to the Mets. He is not a real Yankee. Shout out to Lennox Road Poe. Just so everybody know, LRP. Being the social media manager for Latino sports, I have to make a lot of content around the Mets, right? So yes, I am a Yankee fan, but I do have to show some love for the Mets because I do make content around the Mets. So this season for the New York Mets and their fan base, it's exciting, right? If you're a Met fan out there, enjoy the season that you are having. I am rooting for Francisco Lindor to win that MVP. The way that Francisco Lindor, El Boricua, has been carrying you guys this season is amazing. He started the season slow. I get it. I do understand. But what he has been doing, remove that first year of the season, remove that. He is truly has been one of the best, if not the best player in the National League. I know Shohei Ohtani is on the verge of 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases, but he's a DH. Francisco Lindor is not a DH. He plays the best defense out there at one of the best and one of the most difficult position at shortstop. Enough of my glazing for the New York Mets. I just had to let people know I call it down the middle. But going back into Tuesday, I have another video that I want to play with you guys. I had we was in the press conference room. I was able to ask Garrett Cole a question in the press room. So check this out. We'll be right back. Hey, how you doing? Hector from LATINO Sports. Thank you guys so much. Garrett, just want to say happy belated birthday. Same birthday, September 8th. So shout out to birthday bestie. You when you press conference, when you signed with the Yankees, you had a sign that said Yankee fan today, tomorrow, forever. You have some teammates on the team as well that are self-admitted Yankee fans as a kid. Anthony Volpe, Jose Trevino. We fall in love with this game as children. So how has that been, having that relationship with some of your teammates?
Yeah. It happens more often than not, to be honest, whether it's public or not. There's a lot of guys on the team that are Yankee fans. I feel like we kind of recruit that to a certain extent, to be honest. I mean, the demands of the team, and some of the things you have to go through and being in the spotlight and whatever, it makes it enjoyable when you can refer back to your childhood and remember idolizing, those players in the same position. And it's a bit surreal sometimes, to be honest. Like, Wrigley was crazy. It felt like we were the Beatles almost. And it's like, oh my goodness, like, what a blessing it is. It gives you a little bit of a reality check every once in a while, and reminds you of what you were dreaming about when you were a kid, for sure.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you to everybody in the chat. Anna Marie said, great question. Cole came up to me afterwards and was saying, that's a great question. But no, it was a good time being there. It was a great time. But you see that, right? You get to see when you guys, sometimes it's a curtain, right? That's in front of our eyes as the viewers, as the fans watching from home or watching from inside the stadium. But when you're down there and you're seeing the players, you can tell they have a lot of joy. Jose Trevino interacting with fans. Jazz Chisholm, like I said, Anthony Volpe. I'm cracking jokes with Anthony Volpe, telling him, Anthony, when are we getting Titi's cooking book? I need that chicken parmesan recipe. Seeing that and seeing the smile on the player's face while they're interacting with the fans. Yes, this is a game that we want to see a championship. 162 games. I get that. But to see fans get excited, that to me is priceless, right? So just want to throw that out there. Shout out to a lot of these players. I have a different view on them now that I was able to see the other side of things. Go ahead, Ghost.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. First and foremost, congratulations to you, my brother, man. That is huge, to see you there working so hard with Latino Sports. Shout out to Latino Sports as well, man. I watch everything. I go on the website every day, and I read all the articles. It's a beautiful thing. If you guys haven't seen any of those articles or haven't read any of them, go check out Latino Sports, man, like I always mention. And I know Hector mentions it all the time as well. They're a great group of people. They're amazing. But to see that as well, Hector, is a great question as well. And just to see that kind of transpire with the conversation you had with Cole was huge, man. And that's awesome. So congratulations to you, my brother, man.
Yeah. And it was a video circulating, and it was on John Boy Media. One of the Dominican reporters asked Garrett Cole, out of all the Dominican players that he has faced, who is the one that he doesn't want to face in the bat? And immediately he was like, Rafael Devers. He screamed that. He said that so the dude didn't even finish his question. He was like, Rafael Devers. I never want to face Rafael Devers. And it's great to see Cole be so self-aware, because us fans, we know that. The Boston Red Sox fans, they know that. Rafael Devers, he that. So to see Garrett Cole lean into it and immediately like Rafael Devers was one of the funniest things ever. Also, he gives a lot of credit to Aramis Ramirez. If you guys remember, Aramis Ramirez, former great with the Pittsburgh Pirates. He came up with the Pirates. He went to the Cubs. He had some great years with the Cubs, and then he finished his career with the Pirates. Garrett Cole gave him a lot of credit on being a big leaguer and welcome him into the big leagues. And it's kind of funny when you hear that, because it's like Aramis Ramirez is not a pitcher. So to see that a hitter like Aramis Ramirez was a reason why Garrett Cole felt comfortable as a rookie pitcher, to me, awesome. And as well, the New York Yankees, what they did alongside with CUNY at the time, give me 1 second. I want to get my notes properly. Armando Talavaro is responsible for the Latin broadcasting that goes on with the New York Yankees. Armando Talavaro, he worked with WFAN to get the Spanish broadcasting for the New York Yankees. The New York Yankees, if you guys didn't know, was the last major league team to actually have a Latin Spanish broadcasting. And it was because of Armando Talavaro. Armando Talavaro passed away this year. So the New York Yankees and Lehman College, they're starting a scholarship fund for Armando going forward next year. If you're a student with Lehman College and if you want to pursue sports media or journalism, the New York Yankees and CUNY, they have a scholarship in the name of Armando Talavera and his family. If you guys listen to WFAN, if you guys listen to the broadcasting on the radio, when John Sterling at the end of the game, every time he finished, when it was wrapping up, he will always say, and we want to thank our broadcasting partners, and he will always start off with Armando Talavera. So I just want to just mention his name and mention his family, because if it wasn't for Armando Talavera and for Julio Pavon with Latino Sports, Hispanic Media Day at Yankee Stadium wouldn't be what it is right now. Right, Armando Talavera and Julio Pavon with Latino Sports, they started the Latino Sports Writers and Broadcasting Association 20 years ago, back in 2004, to uplift the voices of Spanish broadcasters and journalists. If you guys remember back then, it was an exhibition game that happened in Puerto Rico. It was the Seattle Mariners and I think the Kansas City Royals. Right? It was the Seattle Mariners and the Kansas City Royals, and then you had Carlos Beltran for Kansas City, and then you had Alex Rodriguez. No way, it was the Texas Rangers. It was one of those games. But regardless, it was A-Rod and it was Carlos Beltran. And the way that the Spanish broadcasters and journalists were not allowed to ask questions or interview these players. You're in Puerto Rico. Why aren't you allowing them to interview these players? So that's why Armando Talavera and Latino Sports with Julio Pavon and the Latino Sports Writers and Broadcasting Association, that was started because of what happened back then. I'm sorry for this word salad. I just had to get it all out real quick.
Nah, respects to both of those guys, man. They created a pathway for Latino sports, and you got to give them as much praise as possible. So much respect to both of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So piggybacking, onto the conversation, because I just played the clip talking about Garrett Cole. I want to get back to the pitching side of things, right? And yes, Ghost, you brought up Clay Holmes and his 12 blown leads that he has. Blown saves, blown leaves, however you want to put it. But when you look at this bullpen, Tommy Kahnle, Cousins, Luke Weaver, those are the guys. And then we got to give credit to Hill as well, Tim Hill, who came out as a lefty as well. You can see that the bullpen is starting to figure out and starting to shape itself, right? Mold itself at when it comes to the pecking order and confidence. To me, Luke Weaver, it's up there. Then it's Tommy Kahnle. Then I'm throwing in I'm throwing in Cousins, and then I'm throwing in Hill. Those are the four guys that I trust the most. And if Clay Holmes can find himself, copy is icing on the cake. I just do not want to see Clay Holmes in a crucial situation, whether it's the end of September against the Baltimore Orioles or in the postseason, give up a lead when we have it. Yeah,
you don't want that. And I definitely agree. Shout out to Tommy Kahnle, Hill, and of course Jake Cousins, who was a surprise to both of us that he's been doing great. And then of course, you want to keep that rotation as great as possible. But let's also give some credit as well to Luke Weaver, man. He has been phenomenal, and every time he's been called upon, the man has delivered. And so is Jake Cousins, so is Canely, so is Heel. And of course, you want to make sure those guys continue to perform as high as they have, because we've had bullpen problems for a while, and they have been just atrocious. Mark Leiter hasn't been great. Clay Holmes has been giving up left and right. I don't know what's been going on with both of them. I hope they can turn it around. Obviously, I would love for them to be in playoff form and ready to go out there and strike out and get those outs we need necessary. But also, we also have to look at the rotation, because some of those guys from that rotation might end up in that bullpen.
Yeah.
So that's extra help as well to really divide what we need from that bullpen. Now, I want to ask you, Hector, because I know that we're looking at that rotation up and down. We do have 6 starters. And who yourself do you see going into that bullpen, whether it be Nestor, Heel? Who do you see going down to really helping this bullpen out even more, to really give us an even bigger edge with the guys that we're already seeing formulating into a great bullpen to keep that bullpen as strong as it is going now into the playoffs?
Great question. And this is a conversation we had on Tuesday's show, but I'm glad that we're picking it up right now to continue, because I want to get your take on it. Goes for me, I said on Tuesday, I'm lining up the rotation when we go into the postseason with Garrett Cole being 1, Carlos Rodon being 2. That being said, game 1 and game 2, that's where we use and maximize the most out of our bullpen. That's when we use Luke Weaver, Tommy Canely, all of our big guns, those first 2 games. Then in game 3, we started with Luis Hill. Luis Hill is our number 3 starter, with Nestor Cortez piggybacking and coming in the 6th inning. Let Luis Hill go for 5 innings and let Nestor Cortez come in the 6th and give our bullpen a day off and rest our bullpen. And then when you go into game 4, you started with Clark Smith, right? And then you could start it with Marcus Stroman and have Clark Smith come out of the bullpen, because Smith is used to coming out of the bullpen, depending on if it's an elimination game or depending on if the Yankees have the lead in the series. It all depending on how it shapes up to who's in the lead for the series. But for me, I will line up 1, 2, and 3 as Cole, Rodon, and then I will have game 3 be Luis Hill, and you piggyback with Nestor Cortez coming out of the bullpen to give your bullpen a day off. Shout out my guy TC Stills in the building. TC, how you doing? Salute, salute, salute. If you guys didn't know, TC Still, he is the biggest Brian Cashman supporter in the world. He is the biggest Brian Cashman fan. He has a Brian Cashman tattooed on his right ankle. It's a true story. If you don't believe me, check out his Instagram. Shout out my guy TC Still. Love my guy. He said, doing okay, just dealing with all these fires around me. TC, just stay safe. I know you're on the West Coast. Be careful, my guy. I love you, brother. Just know you can reach out if you need anything. Shout out to Old Sarge in the building. Old Sarge, how you doing, my guy? Salute, salute, salute. Austin Cruz says, I hope this bullpen can keep playing well for the rest of the season so the Yankees can secure the division. Absolutely, Austin. And we got to take a look at the division, because from the last time I checked, the Yankees were still up. The multiple games, if I'm not mistaken, we have a game and a half lead on the Baltimore Orioles right now, 84-62. Baltimore is 83-64. But when you look at the overall records around Major League Baseball, Philly, they had 88 wins. They're number 1. They have the best record in all of baseball. Then you got the Dodgers with 87 wins. And then you got the Yankees, and then the Cleveland Guardians are tied for the 3rd best record in Major League Baseball. Yankee fans, with everything that we have been through this season, with the ups and downs, with the roller coaster of cardiac Clay Holmes, with all of that said, we are still tied for the 3rd best record in Major League Baseball. I get it. I understand. When the month of June came, it was disgusting. We was playing under 500 baseball. Right now, I think our record is 500 since the start of June. I get that. I understand that. But we still have the 3rd best record in baseball. All it takes is for a team to figure it out a week or 2, get on a hot streak, and you never know. So I want to ask you, going into the postseason last year, how confident were you that the Arizona Diamondbacks were going to make the World Series?
Not that confident.
I don't think anybody, if you were somebody that wasn't a Diamondback fan and you said the Diamondbacks were making it to the World Series, you're full of shit. you're a liar. You're disgusting. You're a liar,
Yeah.
right? None of
Yeah.
us had the Diamondbacks going to the World Series on their bingo card. And guess what? The Diamondbacks for that entire season, what was their one glaring issue that they figured out in September? Their closer. They had different people closing for them throughout the entire season. And then September came around and they figured it out and they got themselves a closer. And that's what the New York Yankees are trying to put together right now when it comes to the back end and the end of their bullpen.
Yeah, most definitely. I think we're going to have to take a page out of Diamondbacks to really do that same play that they did with the closer position, because right now, it's hard to really determine who we're going to have as our closer because we have to have different guys coming in. Now, Luke Weaver has gone out there and delivered. So has Jake Cousins, and so has a few others, even Nestor, who came out of the bullpen helping a little bit as well. But I think we're going to have to take a page out of them. And obviously, they figured their closer situation out later on. I think as it stands right now, too, is like, who can you really sit there and say, that's my closer, he's going to get those outs we need? Yeah. We won't know because, like I said, the Yankees are testing out everybody, right? They're trying to figure it out, and maybe it'll take a few players to kind of do that, which I'm okay with as long as we get the wins. But nobody in their right mind really thought, as you said before, Arizona coming in to face off into the World Series. But again, the biggest problem is the bullpen, and I think right now where we're standing right now, I think if this bullpen can hold and stay as strong as it's staying in right now, I think we're going to have a great playoffs run and World Series run as long as that bullpen holds. I know the rotation will be fine because we have great starters that are coming in and are getting back into form, including a Garrett Cole, including a Luis Gil, including a Clark Schmidt, who I am not in any form doubt with them at all, and neither am I in doubt with Marcus Stroman either, because I know Marcus is trying to come around as well. And, of course, Carlos Rodon, who has been fantastic all season long.
Yeah, and like my beautiful girlfriend says, don't forget to hit those emojis, interact with the emojis into the chat, and shout out my guy, Joel Rodriguez. If you guys don't follow him on social media, make sure you guys go on Instagram and follow the All-Star Closet. This is my good friend, Joel. Him and I, we go to a lot of these autograph signings together. We tag team a lot of these events. This is a guy that I work with and I'm very close with. So if you guys can, this is the first time he's on the YouTube live stream. Welcome Joel to the familiar.
What's going on, Joel?
Uptown Sports TV. Shout out my guy Joel. Like I said, him and I, we do amazing work. Make sure you guys go and follow the All-Star Closet out there on Instagram. He does amazing content. He was at Fanatic Fest. This is the guy that had the video that went viral with Ocho Cinco. Joel literally went to Fanatic Fest, stopped at McDonald's, and brought Ocho Cinco McDonald's because that's what Ocho Cinco likes. So shout out to my guy Joel. Like I said, he does good work over there at the All-Star Closet. Who else is in the bill? Oh, Alex, he just dropped Joel's Instagram, so make sure you guys go and follow him over there on the All-Star Closet. But let's look at the lineup, right? Let's go to the lineup and let's break this down. The one thing, Ghost, that I can say that I was pissed off at and I was scratching my head is, where is Jason Dominguez? Why wasn't he in the lineup, right? And you would think Jason would be in there when they had a lefty on the mound starting. That's the thing that was frustrating, that kept Verdugo in there. Granted, it is what it is. He was 1 for 4. But when you look at the lineup as a whole, Gleyber Torres, he was 0 for 4. He has a 250 batting average on the season. John Birdie came into the game to pinch run. Juan Soto, 1 for 5. That one being a 2-run ding-dong, giving the Yankees the lead at the moment. He has a 289 batting average on the season. Aaron Judge, 1 for 3. Hopefully that hit gets Judge to start turning it around. Judge has a 320 batting average on the season. Jazz Chisholm, he was 1 for 4, but that one hit being the walk-off, he is a 261 hitter on the season, basically a 300 hitter with the Yankees. Giancarlo Stanton was 0 for 4. He's hitting 230. Alex Verdugo, 1 for 4, hitting 237. Anthony Volpe, he was 1 for 4, hitting 251. Anthony Rizzo, El Calzone, 1 for 2 on the day, hitting 220. And then you got Jose Trevino, our amigo. He rounded out the batting lineup. He was 0 for 3 with a 224 batting average. Austin Wells came into the game late, had a pinch hit, RBI sac fly, tied up the game, and the Yankees went into extra innings. One thing I'm going to say about Jose Trevino, I'm taller than Jose Trevino. I didn't realize that until I saw him in person. So that made me feel a little bit better, knowing that I'm taller than a professional baseball player. But one thing I'd say, Jose Trevino, an amazing guy as well. Great interacting with the fans that were there. I had a moment to, have a little words with Jose Trevino. He really good guy. Just everybody at the Yes Network, everyone with the Yankees were just fantastic on Tuesday. But when you look at this lineup, yes, I'm frustrated that Jason Dominguez wasn't in the lineup. But with Juan Soto getting 2 hits, with Aaron Judge getting a hit as well, hopefully the heart of our order starts to turn it around and we could finish the month of September on a high note. Because ever since Aaron Judge was on that episode of Paw Patrol, he hasn't hit a home run. And who would have thought? Little fuzzy cartoon dogs is the reason Aaron Judge is struggling at the moment. What's your thoughts on that, bro?
The offense is like Jekyll and Hyde. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. And I don't know. Sometimes I scratch my head, and sometimes I go, "Wow, this offense is destroying teams left and right." I made this statement before in spaces with you and many others. When this offense goes, no one's stopping it. Nobody. I don't care who you are. This offense will eat, spit, and chew you out and beat you down with a stick. And I think that's one of the things I love about this offense, because they can do that. But sometimes they kind of come out and not know what they're doing. They're swinging and missing. They kind of get a hit here and there. They hit into double plays. We've seen this before. This offense and this team, I know, can come back and really be that offense we know and love. But obviously seeing games like we saw yesterday where, not many of the guys we expected to get a hit didn't get a hit. Maybe a few guys did, like the Sotos and Judge. And, of course, everyone else, including with Jazz hitting that walk-off as well. You kind of expect a little bit better, right? And hopefully this offense kind of turns it around. And for me, I expect a lot more from this team, because I've mentioned this to you before, because this is an offense-ready team. Because if you look at that lineup up and down, including Jason Dominguez, and he's added into that lineup of monsters, there's no stopping that, and you can't stop that. When they're hot, especially with Glaber, who at times was hot, and he has been hot, but the glove has been terrible because he's either, unable to get a ball or a double play, or he gets an error most of the times he's on the field, and it's not good because we expect him to be very defensive, including in games where they're very close, and he's not been that guy. Birdie, he just came off an injury. He pinch run, which is fine. They're going to give him some time to kind of warm himself up back to the plate. And obviously Rizzo's coming back from an injury as well. He's doing what he can. I'll give him that. So I expect more from this offense. Hopefully it does turn it around, especially with Judge, like you mentioned before with the Paw Patrol thing. It's kind of crazy that after that show aired, he's been MIA, missing in action. Something went wrong. We need to sound the alarms. I hope he turns it around too, because he was on fire last month. He was on fire. There was no stopping Aaron Judge. So hopefully there's a turnaround for that. And like I said, once this offense is on fire, you can't stop it. But sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not.
Yeah, no, and I'm in agreement with you. Sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not. That's why this offense, if
Jekyll and Hyde effect, my friend.
Jekyll and Hyde, absolutely. But that's why I'm confident. If this offense could get on fire, it could be hell for 2 to 3 weeks in the postseason for a team. And that's what it is. You just got to get on fire at the right moment. And I know there's a lot of conversations that should the Yankees get the wild card spot or should they win the division? Regardless of what happens, just beat the team that's in front of you. I see the argument when it comes to just winning the wild card. You don't have that whole week off, but I'm more confident in a 5-game series than I am in a 3-game series. In a 3-game series, there's less margins for errors. In a 5-game series, there's a little bit more of a legway when it comes to breathing room, right? So it all just depends. But regardless of what happened, just beat the team that's in front of you. I'm somebody that, yes, I know the scoreboard's right there. I'm not going to spend all my time just looking at the scoreboard and monitoring the scoreboard. No, I'm going to watch the game that's in front of me. I'm going to enjoy the game that's in front of me. And after the game, I'm going to take a look at the scoreboard. My night is not going to be dictated at me looking back and forth at the scoreboard. That's just my rule that I had as a baseball fan.
No, I definitely agree with you, Hector. And the thing that makes me even more mad is that the Yankees could have ran away with it. They could have ran away with the lead, and they could have had a few games ahead of Baltimore. But it's because of that damn bullpen. It's because of Clay Holmes that we have been in positions where we've lost games we should have won. We could have been 4 or 5 games in a lead against Baltimore. And there have been times where the Jekyll and Hyde effect comes into play, where Baltimore can't play baseball. They can't figure it out. And I'll say this. They've had some bad pitching, and their bullpen hasn't been as great. But at the same time, there have been times where the Yankees have been in a position they should have won games, and they could have won those games had it not been for that very awful bullpen that we've had. And obviously, its adjustments coming in later is fine, but I think we could have ran away with it right then and there. We could have ran away with it with Baltimore being, having their off games and their losses. But again, the Yankees didn't utilize that, and they didn't take advantage of that, which is unfortunate. But I think that's another discussion for here or there. But I think that right now, as it stands, I think if the Yankees can hold and they can really make an effort to try to get these wins against Boston and the next team after that, I think we can win our division without question. If this bullpen can stay strong, if our rotation can go out there and deal, and that bullpen continues to stay in its formation the way that it has been, honest to God, Hector, I think we can win our division, because that'd be a huge, huge step for us, and we can get home field advantage for us in the playoffs.
Yeah. No, 100%. I want to highlight this chat from Theo Nosebleed section. He said, Verdugo is an A+ defender. Whatever you get offensively is just a plus. Verdugo has 1 error all season and is the second best left field in Major League Baseball. Absolutely, Nosebleed.
Defensively,
I don't want to defensively when it comes to that. Absolutely. Yes. But also, he leads Major League Baseball when it comes to ground outs to second base. So, yes, he is a great defender, like you said, Nosebleed section, right? But he leads Major League Baseball when it comes to grounding out to the right side of the diamond, specifically grounding out to second base. And yesterday, when he hit that ball down the line, I said it. When he was rounding first base, I was like, don't try him. Do not try them, because that man has a cannon in right field, and you were thrown out at trying to get to second base. That was a phenomenal play. It was bang, bang. Great defense is great defense. But Alex Verdugo, when your offense is struggling, right? When your lineup goes basically 12 innings, 13 innings without scoring a run, and you get a hit, so you stay your ass on first base and you make sure they move you over. Because what happened the next batter? Anthony Volpe put down a bunt to try to get on via a bunt. Alex Verdugo would have been at second base with just 1 out. If that's the case, if Anthony Volpe was going to bunt in that situation, Alex Verdugo should have stood his ass on first base, allow Anthony Volpe to bunt him over, so he could have been in scoring position with just 1 out. But again, that's just me overlooking things. We got a few super chats from AA with the 199 super chat, helping us keep the lights on over here. He said, great question, Hector. AA, appreciate you like always. And AA also said with the 499 super chat, host, we should be 7 games ahead with just 6 out of those 12 blown saves.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly,
I'm not
my friend.
arguing with AA at all. Go ahead, Ghost, because that was.
There's no reason we should have lost those games, and there's the pudding right there in front of you, my man. Clay Holmes just could not do it. So I agree with you, sir. We should have been a few games ahead. We should have been 4 or 5 games ahead of Baltimore. But because cardiac Clay, blind Clay, who can't throw the ball correctly, has gotten us nowhere and blown those 6 out of 12 saves that we needed to stay up. It is incredibly sad, man. Very, very sad.
Yeah. And I just want to piggyback off what Damien said, right? Because I agree with Damien. I'm sorry. I don't care how good defensively you are. There is no excuse for no hustle. Absolutely. Facts. And I think Verdugo heard us fans chirping when it comes to that, the hustle component of it. Because what did he do in that first inning in yesterday's game? There was a ball that was hit into left field. And what did he do? He hustled. And he dove and he slid for the ball to stop it from turning into a double or turning into more than what it was. So credit to Verdugo for that. But I am agreeing with you, Damien. There is no excuse for your lack of hustle or your lack of effort out there, whether you're on the field and playing defense or you're in the batter's box running up to first base. No excuses whatsoever. And that's not only for Verdugo. That's for Juan Soto. That's for Judge. That's for every other player that doesn't bust their ass down the batter's box. The only player that I give a pass to when it comes to that is Giancarlo Stanton, because I don't want that man messing up his pretty little hamstrings that he has. That's the last thing any of us Yankee fans need is for Giancarlo Stanton to pull a hammy trying to run down the first baseline. He's the only one that gets the pass. Everybody else, you better pick up your pants and bust your ass down the first baseline. Let's look into some more. Double A said, Damien, Serrano, exactly, fam. You gotta hit to be an everyday player on a team with championship aspirations. And talking about a team with champion aspirations, our lineup, it's been a roller coaster this year, trying to figure out who belongs as the leadoff spot, who should be the cleanup spot. But there's one player that he has taken over as the cleanup hitter since the beginning of June, or since the middle of June, and he has been one of the best cleanup hitters in all of Major League Baseball. And that's a young man by the name of Austin Wells. Austin El Dominicano Wells has been clutch and has been key for the New York Yankees this season. Ghost, I want to finish up this conversation between you and I and folks in the chat. When it comes to Austin Wells, when it comes to the Rookie of the Year in the American League, he's getting closer to the top when it comes to the odds and the betting favorites and the betting plus and minuses. But Austin Wells, TC Stills, El Bigote, Austin Wells. What's your thoughts?
Senor Mustache, man. Senor Mustache.
How realistic is it that Austin Wells could get could get the Rookie of the Year?
It's very, very possible. He has had a very, very solid towards the end start where he has just been on fire. He's been getting on base. He's been getting doubles. He's been getting home runs. He has been an incredible cleanup hitter. And obviously he's been getting everyday starts. So that's why he's getting those incredible hits, because he has been going out there time and time after time, going out there and delivering, getting us the runs we needed, getting the offense flowing, getting the home runs we needed. And of course, just really being that contributor of the offensive side that we know he can be. And obviously he is a great defender as well. And it's hard not to really be on his side and wanting him to win that award for that position. And of course, being a rookie as well is incredible. And of course, performing at that high level as well is an even bigger factor to this offense. So I got to give him all the credit in the world, man, because he has been the spark we needed when he's been at the plate. And every time he's been at the plate, he's either brought in a run or helped get on base to support and get a run going. So kudos to Senor Mustache, or as everyone call him, Mr. Austin Mustache Wells.
Yeah, shout out to El Bigote, and shout out to my brother, Mr. Worldwide Mayberry, in the building. El, how you doing? I hope the family's doing well. Hope you doing well. This is my brother from another right here. So shout out to my guy, the big bro Lawrence Mayberry. But no, when talking about Austin Wells, right? And yes, let's give credit and give flowers to Cowser with the Baltimore Orioles, because he's having a phenomenal rookie season. But when you look at him and you look where he is in the lineup with the Baltimore Orioles, granted the Baltimore Orioles may have a better 1 through 9. We have a better 2 and 3 when it comes to Soto and Judge, but they may have a better and more balanced lineup. But Cowser, he's the 7th hitter in that lineup. Austin Wells, he's the cleanup hitter. Austin Wells is the guy that he gives protection for both Soto and for Aaron Judge. That right there should be factored into that equation. On top of it, Austin Wells has played 30 games less than Adley Rutschman, has played 30 games less than Colton Cowser as well. So all of that has to be factored into this equation when having this conversation for Rookie of the Year. But since taking over, Austin Wells as a cleanup hitter, he's hitting well over 300, right? His on-base percentage is close to 400. He's slugging at an all-time high. His OPS is close to 1,000. So Austin Wells, if he doesn't get consideration for Rookie of the Year, it's rigged. It's honestly rigged in my opinion. But just check this out, Yankee fans. Not only do the Yankees have Juan Soto and Aaron Judge competing for the MVP, the Yankees, we have 2 players competing for the Rookie of the Year, and that's Luis Hill and Austin Wells. Let's not forget Luis Hill. He gets lost in the conversation. Luis Hill is up there as well for Rookie of the Year. So we have 2 guys in that conversation. And as a Yankee fan, the last time the Yankees had a rookie that was doing what Austin Wells is doing is Aaron Judge, right? Granted, Judge was doing at a better clip, but still, it was Aaron Judge. Besides Judge, outside of Judge, Robinson Cano, right? So if you look at these past 24 years, we've only had like 2 to 3 rookies that we've been really, really excited for, and that's Austin Wells, Aaron Judge, and Robinson Cano. Yes, you could sprinkle in Anthony Volpe. Yes, Gary Sanchez was cute for a little bit. Sprinkle in Miguel Andujar, Gleyber Torres. But when you look at difference makers, Austin Wells is a clear difference maker, especially as the cleanup hitter for the New York Yankees.
Absolutely, man. Now, credit to Austin Wells, credit to all that his efforts that has performed. And obviously, I'm not going to discredit Luis Gil because he has been awesome from the start of the season before he got hurt. And I agree with you, Hector. It's hard not to have that conversation of him being in that Rookie of the Year conversation as well. But obviously, I think Austin Wells is going to take that from him, obviously, because he is just having a phenomenal year. I'm not saying Luis Gil didn't come back and start off hot because he did. So I'm going to give him his credit as well. But it's going to be tough to choose from either one of those two players. And of course, MVP discussions, you already know that that's going to be easy because Soto and Judge both deserve it, obviously. But obviously, Judge at the time, he was on fire. He was crushing baseballs like they were candy. And of course, Soto has had his moments on the field with the hits and getting on base and getting walked. And then, of course, having a home run here and there. So it's hard not to have that discussion as well. But either way or any way you go about it, you can't go wrong with either Gil or Wells or Judge or Soto winning those awards. So I definitely agree. It's a great time to be on the right side, and this side has been wonderful.
Yeah, the Yankees, we have a game tonight against the Boston Red Sox. This is the series that starts tonight with our rivals, right? The New York Yankees. We have Nestor Cortez on the mound versus Criswell with the Boston Red Sox. Nestor Cortez is back on the mound with the Yankees. So we have some payback. We have some get back to get when it comes to the Boston Red Sox. Hopefully, we get to see Jason Dominguez in the lineup. If Jason Dominguez is not in the lineup, I don't know what the fuck is going on with the New York Yankees at the moment, but that's somebody that I want to see in the lineup. Key factors for you going into this series against the Boston Red Sox, Ghost. What is something specifically that you want to see? Folks in the chat, let us know as well. We got over 70 people in the building watching us collectively. If you guys can't smack that like button, let's get the like up to 30 likes. But what are you looking forward to this series against the Red Sox, Ghost?
I definitely want to see that offense turn it around. I definitely want to see that explosive offense we've seen before. That's kind of the biggest factor I want to see in this, and I want to see that defense be a little bit better, obviously, on the infield side of things. Obviously, we don't want things to go out of the way, but I think the biggest thing I want to see out of this team is that no-quit attitude like we saw last night. I definitely don't ever want to see them ever put a position to like, oh, we can't just score a run or get a win here when you guys can. You guys forget who you are. You guys forget that you guys have done this before. You guys are the New York Yankees. You don't give up. You keep going and you keep fighting to the last final bell rings. You know what I mean? So I think I want to see that offense turn it around. I know the bullpen has kind of been turning it around for the past few games, so that's something that I'm not too concerned with, but I want to keep that same momentum going into these series against Boston. So the biggest factor I have is really just the offense. I want to see that offense really tighten it up and get back on it. And, of course, a little bit of the defense as well, kind of tighten it up as well.
Yeah, Anna Marie, shout out to Anna Marie, one of the best that are in the chat. She says, I want to see more steals from Volpe, from Jazz, from Birdie, Cabrera, and the Martian. Speed kills. Hopefully Judge gets hot again. Anna Marie, you're saying what I want to hear, because hopefully that hit he got last night helps Aaron Judge turn things around, because we need the captain to start carrying it, especially if he's trying to get to 60 home runs again. He's at 51 right now. It's been, I think he's in his longest slump without a home run, and that's dating back to a couple of seasons ago when he was when he did hit 62 home runs. Austin Cruz says Judge is the clear-cut MVP and Wells is the Rookie of the Year. Hill's time on the IL hurts him unfortunately. Absolutely, Austin. And like always, guys, make sure you guys go and support Austin Cruz over there at the BA Sports Jedi Network. They are family and they do an amazing job when it comes to covering the Yankees, the Knicks, and Austin and his MMA show. Austin, shout out to you and Pops, bro. Let's see. Damien says Miggy 2 bags should have won over Ohtani. Absolutely. Shout out to Miguel Andujar, who's still in the big leagues. I think he's with Oakland at the moment. So shout out to Miguel Andujar finding his way onto a big league roster. One thing I want to talk about is on Tuesday, right? One of the questions, and I was surprised that it was even asked. Brian Cashman was the first person that we got to speak to, right? As members of the media. And the second question that was asked, and I was chuckling, like, oh my God, I can't believe he's fucking asking this question, right? It's the whole Jason Dominguez situation and how he said that a couple of days before, Alex Verdugo gives us the best chance to win. And then Jason Dominguez, he gets called up and he's the starting center fielder for that day. And they wanted to know the thought process around it. And it was the same copy and paste question from answer for Brian Cashman, talking about lanes. At the time, there was no lane. There was no lane for Jason Dominguez, and a lane was created because DJ LeMahieu went on the IL. That goes to show me that you could come up with whatever excuses that you want to come up with, right? But how you framed it, you are letting me know that DJ LeMahieu, you had more faith in DJ LeMahieu as a major league player who was dealing with a hip issue, who had hip surgery when he signed his contract extension. You are telling me that you had more faith in DJ LeMahieu than you did in Jason Dominguez, your top-ranked international free agent prospect that you signed a few years ago, the kid that we've been hearing about for ages, the kid that you've been hyping up. You want us to believe that you had more faith in DJ La Máquina? Come on. I don't believe that. Obviously, like I said, it's just a copy and paste generic answer. And if you want to try to be good towards or be nice towards your veterans, copy. Just come out and say it. Stop sugarcoating on us. My guy Keith McPherson on WFAN, he says it a lot. The Yankees, they love to piss on our leg and just tell us that it's raining, right? So if you're going to address your fan base, if you're going to address the media, just be upfront. I could respect it if you come out and say, listen, DJ's a veteran. He's been with this organization for the past few years. We want to do right by him and just give him every opportunity to turn it around. I have more respect in that than you trying to sugarcoat some BS answer because you didn't want to really get involved. I mean, you didn't want to dive into why you kept Jason Dominguez in the minors. That's the only thing
he had egg in his face, Hector. He had egg in his face because he knew that question was going to be asked, because he knew the Yankee fans were pissed because they were asking why wasn't Jason Dominguez in that lineup when our odds of winning are higher with him. So he really just didn't have any rebuttal or even an answer. He had to go with the robotic answer, like you just said before, that he had to say because of the lane, this, that, and the other. He didn't have an answer for that. You know that, and I know that. So it is what it is. I'm happy that he's here. It doesn't matter anymore whether he was, I want to protect DJ LeMahieu. I want to talk about the veteran who hasn't done anything, who hasn't been offensively well. And he was injured during those times when he now says that he was hurt and he couldn't play anymore because of the hip. So if that was the case, Jason Dominguez could have been here a lot longer and a lot sooner than you stalling for a DJ LeMahieu who was already hurt from the start of the conversation you had, all because of a lane issue when you already had a spot ready for him. There was no excuses. So now you're just making excuses now at the end of it, now that he's here. So as I said before, Hector, he had egg on his face. He really didn't have an answer. So it is what it is. I'm happy that he's here. And all I care about at this point and going forward is winning and winning a World Series.
Same, 100%. I'm happy the Martian is here, right? When you look at moves that were made, I give flowers when I give flowers to. When it's time to give flowers. When it comes to Jazz Chisholm, if you look at the trades that were made at the trade deadline, Jazz Chisholm is the best move that was made at the trade deadline. Outside of Michael Kopech with the Dodgers, that trade for Jazz Chisholm, he has been he has done more for the New York Yankees than any other player that has been traded for, right? So I want to give Brian Cashman credit where credit is due and flowers where he deserves to get his flowers, right? Little flowers. But yeah, that Jazz Chisholm move was a solid pickup, right? Going out there, re-signing Luke Weaver was a solid pickup. When you look at the way that our bullpen is starting to shape into form right now, having Tommy Kahnle, having Tim Hill, having Jake Cousins come in and be a solid piece out of that bullpen. Ian Hamilton is back now. These are all kudos and flowers to the front office and to Brian Cash. But when it comes to everything else, that's when I have an issue with. But guys, I'm your guy Hector. Like always, this has been another great episode Brew. Shout out to my guy, Blood of the Panther, the top moderators of all the moderators who was in the building. Ghost, last words for the people before we get out of here, bro.
Yeah, definitely want to see the offense flow a little bit better, and I want to see us take the series away from Boston. That's all I want, man. Hopefully we can get that done, and I'll be even happier.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. Double A, appreciate you. Shout out to Double A. Shout out to my guy Ness in the building. Ness, my guy, Anna Marie, Blood of the Panther, Alex Campos for being the top moderator out there, making sure the chat is all nice, making sure everybody is beautiful. We don't want no meanies in the building. We all want to be respectful to one another. But like always, guys, make sure you guys drink some water, stay hydrated, say something positive about yourself, and until next time. Deuces. We out.
You fought well yesterday. Your style is unorthodox.
Scorpio.